Hey, Shelley, it's really great to see you again.
Nice to see you.
And thank you for submitting that article for CoachMatching.
Oh, pleasure.
I really love the title, that people are complicated and relationships are not, because I think that really does ring true. And as our in-house relationship expert, I'm delighted that we're featuring you this month as our Coach of the Month. And I wanted to talk to you in a little bit more detail about some of the points in the article.
Great. Go for it.
So the article, thank you. So the article to me made a huge amount of sense, and intellectually I got it. And what I was curious about that isn't covered in the article is, what are some of the barriers that you see consistently prevent people from showing up in the way they want to?
I think when we intellectually understand something and then for some reason we're not able to follow that through in our behavior, then it's usually because we have a blind spot. It's around a lack of self-awareness. So you know, we each have what I'd call like a chief operating system, and as a result and each of us has a different one. So, and I can say a little bit more about that in a moment if you like, when it comes to profiling tools. But basically, you'll have your chief operating system. So it's like this lens through which you make sense of your world and through make sense of life and what's happening. And so what happens is that you bring that into the space, and a lot of the time your behavior is hidden. You're getting in your own way, essentially. We each get in our own way, but we don't realize that we're getting in our own way unless it's pointed out to us or we take the time to reflect on it. And that's one of the benefits of coaching, I suppose, is that you have a pause moment and you get to be reflective and introspective, because we don't learn from experience, we learn by reflecting on experience.
Absolutely. And I guess the thing is that if there's somebody you mentioned earlier, you know, you get feedback on it, or you have an awareness around things. And in the employer-employee, leader and subordinate dynamic, there's a bit of a power dynamic there, isn't there? And so some of your subordinates might not be brave enough to give you the feedback that's saying you're getting in your own way. And although your intention might be to do the right thing, it may be having exactly the opposite effect.
Absolutely. And you might be wondering, why aren't people speaking up? I'm trying to be inclusive, you know, and no one is participating and getting involved. And actually, you know, what you don't realize is that people find you intimidating, for example, is that your way of being is very driven and pushy and let's go and let's do this. And so people feel like if I can't keep up with you, or if I don't have the exact answer right now, that I feel uncomfortable to say that. You might perceive that as a weakness in some way. So there's all sorts of ways in which we in relationship, whether it's peer-to-peer, side-to-side, or you know, relationship above and relationship below, if there's a dynamic, that we don't necessarily always get cooperation from others. And I said in the article that I think that unfortunately, traditionally, people have relied on compliance and obedience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that in this day and age, that is becoming less the case. You know, people are less compliant, less obedient, and they want to collaborate and cooperate if they want to, versus you will because you have been told to, and you must, and I'm the boss or I'm the parent, so do what I tell you to do. So there's this piece around inviting collaboration and inspiring cooperation, to me, when you have the difference in the relationships, the power differential.
That's a lovely way of looking at it. And you mentioned earlier around operating systems. So how would I find out what my default operating system is? I think I might know what it is, but if I was curious and I wanted to explore that in a bit more detail, how would I find that out?
Yeah, so there's a couple of profiling tools. So for example, you've got your Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, Lumina, DISC, Total SEI. There's even the Strengths Finders. So there's all these different profiling tools which help you to understand yourself better and others better, and how we're different from each other, the unique ways in which we're different, that we have our strengths and we have our shortcomings. And the one that I use that I'm certified in is Enneagram. And I find that what I love about that is that it helps us to understand why we do what we do and the things that we're trying to avoid as well. So it's almost quite funny when I share that with people. They can identify with several operating systems, but they almost realize, yes, that must be me, because that's definitely the thing that I avoid the most, So raising your awareness around what is that chief operating system, and then the way in which that shows up in relationship or creates a blind spot for you, because you assume everyone else has got the same operating system as you. That's the biggest thing that we do, is make these types of assumptions.
Exactly. And that's really, really the hayride to hell, isn't it? Just make any kind of assumption about what people's operating systems are.
Yes.
So Shelley, given that you are our featured coach of the month, this is a lovely opportunity for you to share what is it that you offer and that you're passionate about?
Gosh, well, I think that the thing that really excites me is to take the complicated out of relationships. And I do that in a personal and professional setting. I do it one-on-one or two-on-one. So in other words, I do coaching, one-on-one with people in person or virtual, or two-on-one. So it could be a couple or leader and subordinate, and then parent-child. Essentially, it's the coaching, or the other services I have are master classes, workshops. So I'll give you an example of some of let's speak to the CoachMatching workshops or master classes. We do getting to know your inner world, emotional buoyancy, essentials for influence, and authentic well-being, which is really around self-leadership and taking care of yourself so that you can be there for other people.
All extremely relevant at this particular time, especially given that we're now in September, and people are burning out and exhausted and realizing, I think that the world as we knew it has gone forever, really, hasn't it? So
you always have to put your own oxygen mask on first before you try and take care of everyone else.
Exactly. So Shelley, thank you so much for your time today. If people are interested in the article, then they can see it on our website, on our LinkedIn page. And if they would like to contact you, then they can do so again through the CoachMatching website, which is coachmatching.co.za. And thanks again for your insights and for the article. It was great to chat to you.
Pleasure. Thank you, Susie. And thanks for featuring me.
Pleasure, always. Bye.